I've been way obsessed with the Tao Te Ching for the last maybe 2 months. I find it, at this point in my life, I find it super simple. I love that most of the verses are spelled out with, here's a thing to know. Here's an example. This is the one that caught my eye today, and I thought I would share it. The 9th verse of the Tao Te Ching says, to keep filling is not as good as stopping. Overfilled, the cupped hands drip. Better to stop pouring. Sharpen the blade too much and its edge will soon be lost. Fill your house with jade and gold and it brings insecurity. Puff yourself with honor and pride and no one can save you from a fall. Retire when the work is done. This is the way of heaven. I thought, man, that's perfect for me. And I think that's what Dad was talking about. My dad used to say, the devil lives in the mirror. Be careful looking in the mirror. And don't look in the mirror too much, because something that seems super utilitarian, something you can use, can turn ugly pretty quickly. And I didn't completely understand that. I guess I did, but not like I do now. The thought that looking in the mirror, the devil's in the mirror. And the thing he said was, that's how he gets you. He makes you look in the mirror, and then he looks back at you, and eventually you think that the mirror is the point. Instead of using the mirror now, you're being what's in the mirror. I know, it sounds weird, but that's kind of what happens in fitness. And that's probably the reason why this struck me today, as I was having a really cool conversation last night with Craig about it, is, man, the devil does live in the mirror. In fact, that's why we didn't put mirrors in the gym for the better part of, I don't know, 2 years. And if it hadn't have been from a very generous donation from Dave and Court, I wouldn't have put mirrors in that gym. I'm glad we have them now, and I think they really serve a purpose in terms of watching your form and knowing exactly what you're doing and how to do it, for sure. But man, in this fitness world, you got to be careful, because that devil does live in the mirror. I've seen him a few times. I've gone eyeball to eyeball with that guy. My point there is that fitness has to be the same way. It has to be. At some point, you've got to obey the Tao, the 9th verse of the Tao, and at some point, you got to recognize that the work is done. Fitness only has one purpose, right? It's for reaping benefits of life. Fitness itself isn't the purpose. We don't do fitness for fitness' sake. In fact, fitness is one of the few things on earth that once you start participating in it for its own sake is when you break it. It's a little like parenting that way, right? Parenting for parenting's sake is broken. Parenting for kids' sake is the point. We parent so that our kids can be stronger and smarter and all the things that parenting does for a child. But once you turn it into its own thing, once you decide that parenting for its own sake is what it's all about, you break it and you break the kid. And that's bad. Or if you're a religious person, it's easier to understand in terms of prayer, right? Prayer has it has a lot, but prayer's job is to communicate with a higher power, with God. And once you start making praying into its own thing, once you say a prayer for prayer's sake, the most eloquent, the most elaborate prayer, the fastest prayer, the most wordy prayer, once prayer becomes the point, you're kind of missing the point. And that's what fitness is all about. Fitness has a point. Fitness's job is to serve you so that you can then go serve others. At least that's the way I see it. I see fitness's job is to give you strength. We have a writing on the wall in our gym, and they're literally just written on there. And the writing says, without strength, you have none to give. And I've always thought that was the point of getting fit, is so that then you could take that fitness and go do good with it. Do more for the world. And fitness gets a little broken. I've never met anybody that didn't start a fitness journey or a health and fitness journey. I've never met anybody that didn't start that with pure intent. They tell me too, I want to get fit so I can look that way for my husband. That's a pretty pure thing. I want to get fit so I can be a better dad. I'll have more energy for business. There's all of these pure intents, and then somehow fitness, just like that mirror, can turn into its own thing. And all of a sudden you're doing fitness for reasons that sort of overfill that cup. Does that make sense? At some point you just got to stop. Fitness is about benefits. Fitness is about benefiting others, and fitness for sure will come back to you. But once you start using it for yourself is when you start breaking it. Probably. Anyway, that's my thought today. My thought is for Philosophical Friday, at some point your cup is full. And instead of going back into the gym and doing more exercise with more reps and more sets and more weight, take that energy that you're about to use to serve maybe yourself and go use it to serve someone you love. Do something good for your community. Do something good for your God. Use that energy for good. That's the point. And it always is the point. That's why people get started. And I know that's why I've gotten started, and I've backtracked a few times on that issue, but I feel like I'm in a better place right now. And that's my point. Let's not overfill that cup. But that being said, let's make sure that cup gets full. That's my Philosophical Friday. I hope you enjoyed it. Please follow along with me for next Friday. And if you liked it, please give us a like and subscribe to us. And if you have more or would like more information about GPP, what it is, and how to start storming with us, gppfitness.com's got all those workouts, and I'd love you to subscribe to that too. So until next Friday.